We'll get underway. Welcome, friends, to this next deep dive into the teachings, going into the next transmission, which is a really super profound, just extraordinary one, which ties together the different pieces that we've been looking at over the last weeks. So we'll get into that in a minute. Before we really dive in, let's just have a little meditation. So I invite you to just find a posture where you feel you can go with it. And just let your presence settle. Let your body rest in a posture that allows you to be calm and alert at the same time. Just let your bodily experience be whatever it is. No need to change anything. Let your emotional field be just as it is. No need to change anything. Let your mind be just as it is. No need to change anything. Okay, and so I invite you to just begin with the inquiry. How much is your personal will aligned with the will of your soul? How much is your personal will aligned with the will of your soul? So just tune in to however you can get a sense of or a connection to the will of your soul. And that can be something very present and accessible for you. Or it might be something, if you look at your life and feel back in time and feel any moments, recall any moments where you felt a deeper force bring guidance or direction or clarity in your life, even when it may have been painful. See if you can tune in and bring to your awareness any connection you have to some deeper part of you and part of life that where its will is toward your growth and the opening of your heart and the deepening of your love. And the deepening of your capacity to serve others. And how that will may have impacted your life, even if it was uncomfortable, even if it was painful. And then just check in. How much is your personal will surrendered to that? How much is your personal will actually in alignment with that deeper will? How much is your personal will actually resisting that or running its own agendas? Just look into these questions and be honest within yourself. And then explore what it feels like if it's your truth, if it is your authentic choice to align your personal will with the will of your soul, to surrender and offer up your personal will to the will of your soul, even if it's just for a moment. Feel what that feels like. And then see if you can go a little deeper. And see if you can feel in how much is the will of your soul aligned with the will of spirit. Just explore this however you're able to. Sometimes our souls can just be running their regular path of service. But that's different to our souls being surrendered to being penetrated and opened by spirit and the will of spirit. So, however much you're able, just explore within yourself how much is your soul surrendered to the will of the One, the will of Spirit. And then just see if you can take a moment to experience the alignment of your personal will, the will of your soul, and the will of Spirit. The will of your personal self, the will of your deeper soul self, and the electric will of the One. And deep breath. Okay, and you can let that go. So, folks, even if that was all gobbledygook for you, don't worry, that's where we're going. And on big, giant, profound cosmic scales that will still be relevant to what you choose to do next Tuesday. Okay? So, okay. So all of you will remember, because we've all been in the cooking pot of this process together for some time now, that these teachings that have been coming through have been focused on three different energies and three different groups that are gathering and unfolding and getting together to do the dance of these three different energies in the world increasingly, and that is super significant for big areas of change in our collective culture and society. Now, moving on to 2025, super significant date, and over the next decade, which we're told is going to be a decade of crisis and massive planetary transformation. And those three different groups are one group on Ray 1, Will and Power, which is focused on the revelation of deeper levels of leadership and governance on the planet, basically the transformation of leadership and governance on the planet and the establishment of spiritual governance on the planet. Group 2, which is on Ray 2, which is to do with mass group initiation, that there are energies that are coming in now where there are going to be groups, more and 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 more of them all over the world, who are going to have the fire of group initiation activated in them, where they open themselves and get activated by the energy of our global planetary process, sparking them into levels of development and opening together that would never be possible for individuals alone. So that's like the group 2 bit. And that also includes a bunch of second-ray monads who are going to transmit monadic love into the hearts of the masses and have us all feel like we're loved. So, and then there's group 3, which is to do with the mysteries of matter. And the mysteries of matter ranging all the way from scientific discoveries about shit to do with matter that we just don't know yet, but that's really important for us to live a happy, harmonious, abundant life on this planet, potentially with things like free energy and the capacity to share our resources and people not need to be wage slaves all over the world, trading their soul and their energy and their time for money, all the way through to the landing of temples and the emergence of ritual and ceremony and practices of embodiment and the welcoming of our earth energies and erotic energies and kundalini energies and all the energies of matter as inherently sacred and a place where we can find divinity rather than a place that we have to leave to find divinity. So, 3 groups. Those are our 3 kind of areas that these teachings have been pointing to. And as you will have heard me say at a couple of points, the reason for this is that one reason that DK is focusing, this Tibetan master is focusing on these 3 areas is because Ray 1, Ray 2, Ray 7 are really like the core energies of the dawning Aquarian age. Another reason is that these really represent the 3 energies through which something profoundly deeper is starting to express. And that profoundly deeper thing is going to be our focus for today. So, as you've heard me say before, in the Trans-Himalayan teachings, there's been this kind of trickling, emerging narrative that these masters speak about, okay, so we've taught you a load about soul, so you understand soul. And now you've got to do the work to connect to your souls. And then, okay, some of you are kind of getting that. And now we've taught you a lot about spirit. So a bunch of you can connect to spirit. And then we've taught you about actually how there's a community of awakened souls on the planet who are hierarchy. And there's actually a community of awakened spirits on the planet, which is Shambhala. And we have Shambhala and hierarchy and humanity, these three major chakras in the planetary life: crown, heart, and throat. And we have spirit, soul, and personality, that we've told you that this is who you are on these three levels. The next piece, and what all of this has been leading to, is that the teaching that when these three things on different scales are integrated, on the scale of Dina or Isioma, that's Isioma's monad and his soul and his personality, or Dina's monad or her soul and her personality. When on the human scale, when these three things get integrated, there's a revelation of a fourth thing which ups the whole game, right? And then the same is true on the planet. That when the will of Shambhala and the will of hierarchy and the will of humanity all sync up, there's the revelation of a fourth thing which changes the whole game. And this actually goes into cosmic stuff. This is like, this shit taps into that knowing that you've always had, that there's so much more, right? That there's so much more. And actually that it's an artificial, small little box we live in on this planet that apparently separates us from the mysteries of cosmos, right? But that there's a cosmic revelation on its way. And, it's said in the teachings, there is a cosmic revelation on its way, and yet humanity is not even world-centric yet. We haven't actually really even learned to treat our own backyard decently yet and function as a single integrated species where we're not fighting each other or being violent to each other or to the earth or to ourselves. And yet the crisis that we're currently facing is one which is forcing us to work that stuff out. And as we work that stuff out, it's like, what's going on right now? We're faced with crises that are demanding that we become world-centric, that are demanding that we end our tribalism, that are demanding that we end our separation from each other, which is based on bullshit, and that we realize and remember that we are one family, that we all bleed the same color, that we're all here together, and that this is our destiny is to learn how to steward this entire planet together as one species, in cooperation with each other, and the principles of love and compassion and the inherent unity of the human spirit. There is no alternative apart from our end, as our current crises are showing us. So that takes us world-centric. And then, basically what these teachings are saying is that even though humanity appears to have its own kind of schedule whereby it's slowly, gradually, piece by piece working its shit out, there's a bigger game afoot, right? And that bigger game has its own time cycles. And actually, it's nearly time for the alarm clock to go off. So 2025 is where the fourth ray comes in. And that fourth ray is associated, because we, in the Trans-Himalayan system, we love numerical link-ups. So the fourth ray is associated with this fourth quality. But it's also the Shambhala impact. And the Shambhala impact is, it's said that these started last century. It said that actually energy from Shambhala has only now like 3 times been released fully into humanity, because it's so powerful. And one was like millions of years ago, another was a few less million years ago. Like the second one was understood to actually be the energy that resulted in the destruction of Atlantis in their civilization prior to ours. And then the last one was 1925, last century. And so powerful are these impacts, which these teachings understand to actually now be beginning more regularly. So the next Shambhala impact will be 2025. So powerful are these impacts of energy that these teachings understand that, you know, let's look at it, right? Like to me, right? Welcome into something that my mind boggles with. Yeah. So just think back into the course of human history and think back to, like, it really was not a long time ago that we were riding horses everywhere. Yeah. It really was not a long time ago that we didn't have electricity. Like, and for a really fucking long time, we didn't have any of that shit. Like, you could not write your mother an email. Yeah. It's like, for a really long time, apparently it seems, human evolution moved very, very slowly. If you look at the technological difference for the 15th century and what was available to people to live a comfortable life of quality, to 500 years before that, to the turn of the first millennium, it's really not that different. You know, it's like small alterations, like guns, maybe. They had guns. Like, you know, whereas in 10, 100, 1100 or whatever, they didn't have guns. It's like, that's, you know, look at the shit that's happened in the last fucking 150 years, like all the way from cell phones to emails to the rise of the internet to quantum computing to, like, you know, all of this shit. It's like, it's exponential. There's even people who talk about a technological singularity that we're moving towards, where it's like, you can't even track the level of development that's going to be happening technologically anymore. It's like, because it's so fast. And the understanding is that actually all of this stuff, along with some other pieces I'm going to get into in a minute, is the result of the Shambhala impact. So the Shambhala impact that came in 1925, so DK in this teaching, which I'm presenting on today, he says, last century, there were major developments that happened along these three lines that we've been looking at. So along the first ray line, the major development that happened was, first of all, the Second World War, the sprouting and the needed facing of the karmic seeds, the shit that humanity needed to face and to resolve, which resulted in the Second World War, the mass death that moved through society. The first ray is the destroyer ray, it's the ray of life and death. And also in the wake of that death, the formation of the United Nations. So the formation of the United Nations, even though it lacks the teeth that many of us would like it to have, was a huge moment in the history of humanity, like the beginnings of the formation of a global body that's about the unity of humanity despite differences of race and culture and nationality. And yet, as we know, it has not been fully successful. And it's not been fully successful because of first ray reasons, right? Which is nation states refusing to surrender their will to the greater will. Yeah, which is why we have all the bullshit that goes on in the Security Council, and mainly we have like China and Russia who veto stopping people getting killed and stuff like that, and America running their bullshit and everyone running their bullshit. Basically, it's nation states not surrendering their will to the greater will. But we still had major developments there in governance and an approach in the beginning of global governance from a conscious, compassionate, humanitarian place. And these teachings, DK says in this transmission, one of the other reasons it failed was that the United Nations is not consciously linked up to the higher kingdoms. It's not consciously linked up to hierarchy, and it's not consciously linked up to Shambhala. And any spiritual governance that's really going to be able to hold itself on the planet is going to need to be consciously linked up to hierarchy and to Shambhala. It's a big deal. Okay. Second, the second ray line of transformation that DK says happened last century as a result of the Shambhala impact. And what I should say as well, the Shambhala impact is bringing in this fourth energy, is bringing in the energy of cosmic freedom. And that's expressing in these three different ways. So he says, civil rights, the civil rights movement, women's liberation, animal rights, the anti-war movement, like all of these major developments in the inclusivity of human consciousness, where we start letting go of our barriers of separation with each other and widening our hearts to be able to feel the inherent humanity in all of us, were on the consciousness level the result of this impact. And on the matter level, he says, our penetration into the mysteries of the atom, the development of nuclear power, and the beginning of our understanding of the quantum world were the result of this, the impact of this fourth energy, which is cosmic. So it's saying that Shambhala, hierarchy, humanity, monad, soul, personality, ray 1, ray 2, ray 7, all of these are just expressions of a cosmic life force which is anchored on earth. And when that energy has flowed through Shambhala, as it did in the Shambhala impact of 1925, and it will again in 2025, it produces massive upgrades in each of these areas. Those were the upgrades that happened last century, and the next upgrade is coming 2025. So that's the beginning. Like I wanna just show you guys something. Like yeah, so let me just see you, I'm going to show you a graphic so you can get a better sense of what I'm talking about. So tell me please when you can see my screen. Yeah, okay, cool. So, bing. Okay, so monad, soul, personality. This is Isioma or Kalyana or Celeste, right? This is a human being. Yeah, and that being has its three aspects: monad, soul, personality. They have three fundamental energies, but actually Isioma in those three different areas, just like Kalyana and just like Celeste, deeper than that, they are a cosmic expression of life. There is a cosmic life that's deeper than monad, deeper than soul, deeper than personality. And when Isioma integrates monad, soul, personality, hey, there's a cosmic revelation that happens in that brother. Yeah, like it's the next thing basically. But that's on the planetary level. Shambhala, planetary crown chakra; hierarchy, planetary heart chakra; humanity, planetary throat chakra. All expressions of a fourth thing, this fourth cosmic energy. And then we get into the cosmic planes, right? I won't spend too long on this, but remember that actually the whole shindig of what's happening on Earth is actually just on the lowest levels. Even our highest, the levels on which hierarchy and Shambhala dwells, those are the most subtle and highest levels of the lowest level of cosmos. And there are cosmic planes above that: cosmic astral plane, cosmic mental plane, where beings incarnating through solar systems and galaxies and constellations and stars are unfolding their evolution, right? There's a big cosmic piece going on. So, and all of this is actually just, these are the three cosmic planes, or the personality planes of the cosmic logos, the being incarnating through the solar system that we're a part of. And that being supposed to be moving through the third initiation right now. And Earth, don't forget, Earth on a cosmic level is understood to embody the base chakra, the root chakra of the solar logos, the being incarnating through the solar system. So this is like on the cosmic mental plane, the mental plane of the solar logos, the fundamental energy is cosmic will. On its cosmic astral plane, the fundamental energy is cosmic love. On the cosmic physical plane, where our whole evolutionary journey is happening, really the fundamental energy is cosmic intelligence. But all of these are in the process of being integrated. Like this is the stuff where it's like our Earth process is a tiny fractal of big cosmic stuff that's happening right now. And that actually there's a link up. This is what these teachings are saying. There is a link up that's happening right now, which is so much bigger than what's happening on Earth, and is going to result in the inflow of cosmic Buddhic energy, which is cosmic life, cosmic love, cosmic life force. And that is going to have an opportunity to flow all the way down into our bodies and into the soil and into the earth and into our hearts. and it's going to change shit. It's said that that is the revelation that's coming, the revelation that the highest cosmic energy is the same energy at the center of every atom, is the same energy at the center of every cell. And that when this starts to land, that actually we live, hey presto, in not just a friendly universe, but an inherent divine universe with the energy of cosmic love vibrating through everything. It's going to change everything. And humanity is itself actually going to open to a cosmic level of awakening where we recognize ourselves as a single cosmic being of cosmic significance and inheritance and origin. So there's a cosmic awakening process that this represents. And the last piece, Shambhala Impact 2025, this century, he talks in this transmission about it resulting in the emergence of spiritual governance, mass initiation, mass group initiation, and the revelations on the mysteries of matter, further revelations on the mysteries of matter. So I get that's all big stuff, right? And this teaching is beautifully invitational when it comes to each of our parts in it. So I just want to read to you guys. We're going to move into our first small group share in a minute. But I just want to read to you in a minute when my computer stops being slow, how this transmission ends. Because there's a really beautiful section at the end where DK invites us all into a very simple and important contemplation of 3 pieces to do with our role, each of us, in this big process. And so these 3 pieces I'm going to invite us to be in reflection on over the course of this call. So this is the piece. Just let these words wash over you and let it into your heart. Stay conscious that ways you can assist in this process. Stay conscious of the big picture reality. There is a stupendous planetary event occurring that will become obvious to most people only after it has happened. Remember that initiates are the cause of evolution and not the result. If the incoming energies are able to work through human beings rather than flow around them, they will result in less destruction, more purification, and spiritual organization. The energy of divine will from Shambhala requires consent to work in such a way that flowers the soul and fuses it with the personality. Therefore, to the extent that your soul is willing, ask for the lightning of the Shambhala force to move through you to vivify your being. It will simplify your life, purify it by releasing that which does not serve your soul evolution. It will awaken dormant powers and it will put you in your right place. We each have ashram affiliations according to our race structure and soul unfoldment. We each have unique capacities and specific contributions to the global process that are ours to make. Let the life force move through you into these rather than your own planning or aspirations. Honor your sovereignty, but realize we often have no true perspective about what we most need or are able to offer. From our own center, we can lack discernment. We can lack the ability to assess ourselves in the light of the needs of the whole system. We either over or underestimate our value and capacity. This is why hierarchy is so important. Humanity needs guidance that allows us to find our place in a larger life. Ask for help, inside and out. Be willing to put your own plans on one side and give yourself to the planetary process. Surrender to the current of life as it moves through your soul, heart, and body. The Shambhala force operates best through group, so deepen your connections to those you feel resonance with and who share a willingness to surrender into deeper life. Most of all, be willing to be an expression and an embodiment of the transformation that is coming for the planet. Consider your own life in the area of governance, soul initiation, and matter. And here are the questions. Are you surrendered to divine will as best you can be in touch with it? Are you as a soul fully expressing what you came to contribute? And are you with your soul tribe? Is your body a full participant in your awakening process? And are you in connection with the earth in a way that is mutually nourishing? Simply put, are you where you're meant to be, with those you're meant to be with, and doing what you're meant to be doing? And are you willing to keep being in this inquiry and allowing yourself to be moved? Okay. So I'm now going to put you guys in breakout rooms. And we're going to begin with the first question. And the first question is, are you doing what you're meant to be doing? Then the next question later, not now, is going to be, are you with who you're meant to be with? And then the last question is going to be, are you where you're meant to be? Okay. So right now, first question, 2-minute shares each. Are you doing what you're meant to be doing? Okay, so I want to move on. Thank you, because I get that's a confronting inquiry. All of these are confronting inquiries. Thanks for being up for confronting inquiries. Yeah, so I want to move on to the next piece, the next couple of pieces, which are badass powerful from this transmission. Okay, so there's 2 pieces I want to cover before we get into the next little inquiry. The first is the cosmic piece. Okay, so as you guys heard me get into a whole thing around like a while ago to do with basically why is there suffering on Earth? Like, why does a bunch of painful, apparently evil shit happen? And basically the perspective that I shared, which is the trans-Himalayan perspective, is that although there is a supremely awakened being incarnating through the earth as its body of manifestation, that being is still working out the embodiment of the innate love and divinity and presence of what it is with its body of manifestation. And I asked the question, who here feels like they also know something of that journey where they are not fully embodying the fullness of their soul all the way through their embodiment, right? Give me a show of hands if you feel that you are not yet fully embodying the scale of divine love, light, power that you are as a level of soul through your embodiment. Yep. Yep. Got it. So that's the case basically on the scale of the planet, the planetary logos. That's the name given in these teachings, the planetary logos. A logos is an incarnating entity, the planetary soul, the planetary spirit. And it's understood that the planetary logos at this time has taken the second cosmic initiation. It's understood that our initiations, our soul initiations, they're just like little reflections of the vast cosmic initiations that beings go through as they learn to ensoul and hold space for the revelation of divinity through the fields of planets and all of the varied evolutions happening on that planet, like it's like, you know, the kingdoms of nature, like it's chakras, right? Or solar systems, where different planets embody the chakras of such a being, or constellations, where different suns and their allied solar system embody the chakras of such a being, or galaxies and so on, galactic clusters. It's Russian dolls, all the way up and all the way down, folks, right? So this system understands that all there is in reality is the boundless infinity of absolute perfection in which beings enfolding beings, enfolding beings, enfolding beings are incarnating to hold fields for the evolution and awakening and revelation of the divinity of things within those, of life within those fields. So just as the planetary logos right now is understood to be taken the second cosmic initiation, and what do we know about the second initiation? We know that for a human being, the second initiation is the hardest. Second initiation is basically where the crisis is at the emotional level. And it's the crisis between the love of the soul and the still self-oriented desires and agendas of the personality. So that's like the crucifixion in a certain way of the emotional body. And that is understood to be the process that we're in as far as the planet is concerned right now. But then there's the next bigger scale. And the next bigger scale is the solar logos, is the being incarnating through the solar system as its body manifestation. And that being is understood to be taking the third cosmic initiation right now. And folks, that's good news for us, right? So what we know about the third initiation is that the third initiation is the first point where a soul truly grounds in the body and in the base, right? Yes, they still got some shit to work out. And it's the first point that the soul has fully landed in the base. That means that such a being who's taken the third initiation, whether they're a solar logos or Fred who lives next door, right? They know who they are in waking consciousness as a soul, in their base, on the earth, connected to who they are, consciously linked up to the ashrams. The break between soul and embodiment is gone. Yeah, that split has been resolved. So on a cosmic scale, if we understand that the third cosmic initiation involves the cosmic soul of the being incarnating through the solar system landing in its base, well, actually the base chakra of the solar logos is us. Yeah, is the earth. The earth is understood to embody the cosmic base chakra. And actually, probably you're the same as me, that the base chakra is kind of like the last place to get sacredized, right? What lives in our base chakras? Our survival fears, our life and death drives, all the stuff that comes out when we are most triggered and that we're willing to kill or do protect life, do anything we can to save ourselves, inflict pain on others. It's the deepest, most I, me, mine oriented drives in our body minds. And that's what drives Earth, right now, and still less and less. So just this piece, which I want to land for you right now, is just to give a sense of the cosmic picture, that it's understood that the process over a vast period of time that's unfolding from the perspective of these teachings is the link up between the profoundly awakened being incarnating through the solar system as its body of manifestation and Earth. And so just as I said a moment ago that the break for a third degree initiate between their incarnated self and who they are as a soul is ended, as this happens, the break between Earth civilization and cosmos will end. And actually, we will be linked up to a far vaster process. And it's said that that will involve the descent of cosmic energies that will come and land and basically result in the manifestation of a whole bunch of profound shit on the planet that I'm going to get into in a minute. The virtual total transformation of our society so that it's grounded on the basis of soul and the innate divinity of everything. And it will also result in the rising of solar kundalini. And what is solar kundalini? We are solar kundalini. Right? So this is a really profound part of these teachings, that actually we as spirit, we as monads, are the kundalini energy of the being incarnating through the solar system. Think about that for a minute. Right? So what's your kundalini energy? We're talking fractals, yeah? It's the same pattern, as above, so below. So what's your kundalini energy? Your kundalini energy is the energy of spirit in your base chakra, right? That is covered over by survival drives and life and death drives and all the stuff that makes the base chakra the base chakra. It's the same principle cosmically. What is solar kundalini? It's the energy of spirit in the solar base chakra. The solar base chakra is Earth. So I just want to leave you on this part with just think if you remember at any time in your experience where you've had flickers or more of kundalini rise in your experience, where you've had bursts, sparks, currents, rising through your system of kundalini energy. Now upscale that. Imagine that that's actually the passage of masters. That's the passage of liberated beings rising through the channels, the energy channels of the solar being into other places in the solar body to continue their life, their unfolding, their service. And it's also possible for Kundalini to awaken and not ascend, but choose to stay, to empower the system that it's a part of and land more of the cosmic energies that are coming in that system. So it's actually said that in the future, there will be a group of beings who choose to stand for that on Earth. There will be a group of beings who, when they achieve the sixth initiation and they're fully anchored in spirit, they will choose not to leave, but actually to stay within the aura of the Earth and hold point for the empowered transmission of cosmic energies into the Earth for a final revelation of the divinity of all matter here. So that's getting into the big cosmic shindig, okay? Now let's come back. So probably the most significant part of this transmission is a part where DK, and to me, this is like, okay, right? DK, he's talking about the Shambhala impact. So I was talking earlier about there's going to be another Shambhala impact 2025. This is going to be a release again of the energy of the planetary crown chakra, which is Shambhala, which is the energy of planetary purpose, planetary will. This is where the will and purpose of the planetary logos, of the cosmic soul of the Earth, is held in reservoir, just like the will of your soul exists in your crown chakra. There's going to be another release of this into the Earth as the whole body of its body of manifestation. And with that, this cosmic fourth energy, right? And he has this passage where he says that release, which again this century will produce a massive upgrade in so many things, already is reverberating through time and space between the year 2001 and 2050, right? There's a whole massive unfoldment of things that's going to be responsible for between 2001 and 2050. And yet 2020 to 2030, the next 10 years are going to see huge changes. And he then lists those changes that we can expect to see over the next 10 years. And I just want to read them to you. And I invite you to just take these in because they're profound. So it says between 2020 and 2030, in this decade of global crisis or transformation, we can expect the precipitation of a crisis that will require the emergence of global governance that is in conscious cooperation with hierarchy and Shambhala. And remember what I said earlier, that he says that the UN has largely failed because it has not been consciously linked up to hierarchy and Shambhala. So what he's saying here is there will be a crisis that comes between now and 2030 that basically puts humanity in a situation where it has no choice but to establish a global spiritual governance that is in conscious cooperation with hierarchy and Shambhala. Now, just that is a huge fucking deal. And there's more. We can also expect the mass initiation of humanity so that the soul becomes exoteric, that means basically normal, and is included in our fundamental understanding about ourselves and our world. Another huge fucking deal. This will be accompanied by the externalization of the hierarchy as the outer expression of the world soul. The etheric body, that's our energy body in which our chakras exist, the etheric body will become a universal experience and the object of scientific study. More research into the plasma state of matter, that's like another state of matter, and there'll be discoveries on the properties of dark matter and dark energy and black holes. This will result in the unlocking of the dormant powers in the body and in matter and in the earth itself, resulting in the restoration of the environment and the vivifying of human immune systems. There will be the reorientation of relationships, sexuality, birth, and death to include the soul and monadic dimensions. There will be the reorganizing of business and economics around ashramic affiliations and the circulation of etheric energy. There will be the recognition of the role that humans have as a conduit of energy into the natural world. And just to top it off, there will be more widespread awakening to contact and cooperation with consciousness that is extraplanetary. He means aliens, folks. He means aliens, right? So it's a big decade for us, right? Okay, so just let that land. And if we had more time, I'd like to, just chat about that and hear what you guys feel about that. But how about, I'm just going to put you in breakout rooms again. And the second question I want you to answer, are you with who you're meant to be with? Are you doing your thing on your path in connection with those who it's right for you to be with? Are you connected up to your tribe? And if not, what would be the shifts you could explore to more deeply link up with those who it's right for you to link up with? Okay. Same protocol, 2 minutes. Are you with who you're meant to be with? Okay. All right, people. So maybe as you've already divined this inquiry in its 3 parts, am I doing what I'm meant to be doing? Am I with who I'm meant to be with? Am I where I'm meant to be? This is our Shambhala, our own little Shambhala, our own little hierarchy, our own little kind of embodiment matter connection piece, right? Am I doing what I'm meant to be doing? Like, what's my alignment to what is leading me, right? To my sense of purpose. Am I with who I'm meant to be with? Am I connecting to those beings who are actually already going through the same fire of group process that I'm going through, and we can deepen with each other as we come into contact with each other and get soul intimate with each other as we're in the process together? And am I where I'm meant to be? How's my connection to matter? How's my connection to earth? Like, am I in relationship with earth? Am I listening to where earth is calling me? And where there's an opportunity for my unfolding and my growth and my healing and my awakening that's just different to the other places. So that's the inquiry. I really appreciate you being in it and facing yourselves in it. And part of the way that the big process will refract through all of our lives is it will call us into these truths. It will call us deeper into what we're meant to be doing, who we're meant to be doing it with, and where we're meant to be doing it. So we'll be in that process together as this process unfolds. So good to be with you all. Thank you for joining. And I'll go back to Wednesdays next week for doing this. And yeah, see you there if you're into it. That one's basically going to be all about death, power, and purity. So there we go.
Thank you, John.
Pleasure. Yay. Much love, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Ciao,
ciao.
Thank you.